Oh, look at that gorgeous butthole. No, this is not a bass blaster 7000 or whatever. This is a real Audiobahn with the flame frame set terminals. Oh, the other company that uses set terminals is AudioPipe. Stop doing that, AudioPipe. You're better than that. Anyways, we have it cleaned. I decided not to use the bigger landing. I decided just to use the factory one. The gap is still dirty. What we're going to do is I shimmed it up last night and made the coil assembly. So I had to recycle the coil. You see there's quite a bit of residue and rust. But I'll get in there with, what do I use? I use a popsicle stick with a paper towel wrapped around it and then soaked in acetone. So, and then we're going to do the Johnny 5 cone with blue stitch. And then I think he wanted the convex carbon fiber. We can do the concave carbon fiber too on this one because it's 2.5-inch coil. So here's the coil. It's nice copper. I ended up taking off half a winding from each lead, and then you take it over to the other side and make sure you keep positive with positive, negative with negative. And then I just folded them over the top. And then there was a little gap in the spider, so I put some yarn in there, and then I soaked it a little bit with CA, let that cure in front of the fan. The OD on the spider was a little off, so we trimmed it. You can just trim it with some scissors. I get mine at the dollar store. And then the only thing we got to do now is terminate. I went ahead and epoxied it, and then I just used my finger to rub some of the epoxy to hold the lead down. So you could also wrap it in some sort of tape, but I was like, I'll just do it in epoxy. Plus, it's never going to get seen, so it's not a big deal. So, but I didn't have any other replacements. I think it's 2 5/8. I'll give you the dimensions here in a second. But yeah, so it's good to go. I just have to terminate the leads here. We will shim it up. It uses 2 manila folder as the shim. If you have the little pleats or the corrugated part, don't put that in there because sometimes it catches and then it rips off. Of course, your best bet is to use some sort of polyplastic or even Teflon shim, but those are expensive and I don't have them right now. So playing cards are also good, and of course business cards. But let's see, terminate there, shim, put the CA bead down, put that in. Oh, and I have, where'd it go? Here it is. So I'm using the 1/4-inch, 8-inch spider, and then I cut out what it's supposed to, so that way when it pinches together, it'll fit right in there. And that works as a spider clamp. I don't know if she can see that. Let's see. And I think that was it. Let me do some work and then I'll come back and give you guys an update. So we're all soldered up. So it gave me a little trouble. You can also check them by putting the multimeter in there. Sometimes you want them to be within plus or minus of a point, like a 1 decimal place impedance. So this one is like if it's 3.4, you want to make sure the other side is 3.3 or even 3.5. So 1 or plus or minus 1/10 of an ohm is plenty. And sometimes you'll have to, you can't figure out where the bad solder joint is. Sometimes it can be here, sometimes it can be there. You don't know. And so you got to sit there and troubleshoot. But we got the Johnny 5 cone. We're going to go ahead and put that on. And then on this one, because of the aluminum former is bare, you just got to be careful about the leads touching that and creating a short. So I got the cone on and I'm just marking where the leads are going to come up through. So basically what I do is I look down there and I see just about where it's going to come up, and then I make a little mark. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. About there. And then I cut a little window. Oh, sometimes it will also make a key indicator to tell me which side is which. I just use the flush cut dikes to pop little things in it, and then you just pokey pokey with your finger. And like Beavis, and you peekaboo, peekaboo. So you do that for all 4, and then you put it back on and make sure your key marking matches up. So that because again, sometimes it'll be off by just a little bit, and you want to be as accurate as you can. It just helps when guiding it on there. And you want to do a dry fit, and then you come back and we're going to put the bead on the top of the spider, and then we're going to thread the leads up through, or I'm sorry, put the bead on top, put the cone on, no adhesive on the outside, and then we're going to pop these up through the little holes, and then what you do is you push this down to kind of seal up the hole, and then any area that's in here, we're going to put a little bit of yarn to fill it in and sort of soak it up. And then we're going to do epoxy there. And then at the very end, if it's pretty stable, we can flip this up and do the top landing, the surround landing. But otherwise, I usually wait overnight, and then I come back and flip it up, and then do the surround, and then clamp it down and leave it for another day. So it sat overnight, and what I ended up doing, and I should have prepared for this previously, which was to use some blue tape and wrap the former, so that way the leads wouldn't make electrical contact and then short out. What I ended up doing in the last second was just putting little pieces of manila folder in there in between the leads and the, I don't know if you can see them a little bit, it's a little messy. Focus. No. Anyways, so now we're just going to glue down the surround and inner cap test, and then it's done. Well, that's it. This one turned out pretty good. Little note that it doesn't like this wide surround, so you just got to put some pressure on it. And then I'm going to stop by Ace and get some stainless M4s, flatheads that go in there. So that's it. You can do this at home, kids.